Hi everyone, you're welcome back to the channel. Today we're going about the sewing of this beautiful underbust gown which has a back waistline and also a rope in front. This is a chic gown you definitely want to add to your collections. So continue watching this video and do not skip any part of this video because the part you might miss might be the most important part with the most important detail. So with that much being said, let's get started with today's tutorial, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Basically, the detailed pattern drafting of this beautiful gown has been uploaded on the channel. So this is the second part of this tutorial. If you are yet to watch the first part of this tutorial, which is the pattern drafting, please kindly go on ahead to click on the link in the description box that will directly take you to that tutorial. Right on the screen is also the thumbnail to that tutorial in case you don't want to go to the description box to click on that link. Trust me, it is 100% detailed beginners friendly, and by the time you are done watching the first part of this tutorial, make sure you come back to watch the sewing part, which is what we are going to be doing today in today's tutorial. So when I was done drafting, I went on ahead to cut out my pattern paper on my fabric. So this is for the front part of our gown, and on the back area, I added half of an inch at the top part and also at the base. Now for the cup area, I also added half of an inch at the base. And like I said in the previous tutorial, I actually spread the cup area using just 1 inch and 3/4. Okay, so all I'm doing now is to commence or get started with my sewing. I've removed my pattern paper and my pins from my fabric. So now this is the right side of my fabric facing the camera. I'm simply going to use my white lining piece and place on top of the right side of my fabric like this. Now on the neckline, I'm going ahead to pin this. So when I'm done pinning this, I'm simply going to go ahead to join these together using just half of an inch. Now I'll be marking this half of an inch from the base all the way to the shoulder, and I'm just going to stitch exactly on my marks. So this I'm going to be doing for the two parts of the cup area of my gown. I'll keep that aside to work for the back part of my gown. So I'll also go ahead to remove the pins and the pattern paper I have on this, and here is the back part of my gown. I'll go on ahead to repeat the same process by placing my lining on the right side of my fabric, and I'm going to stitch down the neckline. So I'm done doing for the front part, and you can see this is what it looks like. So when you are done joining your fabric and your lining, ensure to top stitch on your lining, okay, inside, just as I did right here. Don't also forget to cut out your rope. It should be two in number, the normal way we always cut out our ropes, okay? Now I'm working for the backs area of my gown. I removed my pattern paper from my fabric, and now I'll spread it out, and this is the right side of my back area of my fabric facing the camera. So now those two ropes that I have, this rope I have, each one was 10 inches long, okay? Yours can be shorter, but it shouldn't be longer. So you see how I'm placing it like half of an inch away from that pointy part at the top of this my back area of my gown. So you can see how I'm also crossing this as well. So from that pointy part, just come down by half inch and pin your ropes, okay? Then for the cup area at the base, I'm going to run an uninterrupted gather stitch. So I've gone ahead to do that right now, and I'm just going to start pulling on the ropes. So when you are doing this, don't pull too hard so that your rope does not cut. Make sure it's an uninterrupted gather stitch, okay? So when I pulled on my rope, I got my desired little gathers I want right there. So I'm going to start pinning this now together with the back area of my dress. So from that end part of my neck depth, I am pinning this together with that pointy part at the top part of my back area of my gown. So as I'm pinning this, I'm actually adjusting the gathers so that it can fit or align together with this straight parts of my Basque area. So if you are doing this, just be mindful, take your time, and just go on ahead to do this. So I took my time to make sure that this aligns properly. But if you actually want your gathers on your cup area to be very pronounced, when you slash, if you are trying to cut on your fabric, you can spread this by with at least 3 inches, then your gathers will be highly pronounced. So mine was one inch and 3/4. That is why my gathers here are not that pronounced. So I'm done pinning, and you can see that it aligns at the side, and you can see how nice it's looking. So go on ahead and stitch this down using half of an inch. That's the same thing I will do right here. So I'll get the other part of my cup, and I'm just going to also place it from that pointy part. Make sure that it is not overlapping the other cup, because if it overlaps the other cup, by the time you are done stitching, it's not going to come out nice. Everything should be on their own separately. So also go on ahead and stitch using just half of an inch. So this is my net, which was the last part of the drafting part of the tutorial. I told you all I was going to be pleating on top of the first layer of my net. I've done that, okay? And the same thing with my lining, which we all did and cut out in the first part of the tutorial. So now I'm going to be placing this my net 1.5 inches below from the top part of my lining piece, and I'm just going to run a straight stitch like this till I get to the other side or the end of this my lining piece. I'll also hem the base as well. Okay, so that is it, and I'll basically go to my sewing machine and do all of that. Now I'm done that for the cup area. This is what I have when I'm done. So you can see how nice this is looking. You can see. So the two cup are neatly fixed. So the next I'm going to be using the lining of the basque area to cover up this stitch I have right here, so that I can have a neat stitching. So on that pointy part of the lining of this basque area, I'm going to place it on exactly the pointy part on the basque area of my main fabric. Okay, so right now wrong side of my lining is also facing the wrong side of my fabric. This is the wrong side of my fabric. Okay, so I'm pinning this the same way I did for my cup, just following that shape there. So I'm pinning this right now. So when I'm done pinning, I'll go ahead and stitch this down using half of an inch, and this is what it looks like. It will cover up the stitches we have on that bust area. Okay, so I'll do it for the both sides, and when I'm done, I will show you all what I have. So when you're done doing that, go on ahead to join the back part of your dress to the front part on the shoulder. So lining to lining and fabric to fabric like this. You can see I'll open this up straight. So just watch carefully what I'm doing. The lining of my front and the back aligns and the fabric aligns. I'll open it up like this and stitch using just half of an inch. I'll do the same thing for the both sides of my shoulder, and also go on ahead and join the sides of my dress as well. So this is it for the net. I've gone ahead to hem the base of my lining, and I stitched my net on top of my lining piece 1.5 inches below from the top part. So the next I'm going to get my main fabric, and this main fabric I'll also be stitching it like this. So you can see now what I'm doing right here. Okay, I'll stitch this directly on top. Okay, so my lining is my hard net is in between my fabric and my lining piece. So after going ahead to stitch this part, you can see the knit stitches I have. I went ahead to also join the sides. Don't also forget to stitch in your darts. So you can see that this shoulder joining, you can't see the stitches, and it came out very neat, right? So that is it. You can see I've aligned this, how beautiful this is actually looking. So at the base of your back area, please go on ahead to just use on a stress stitch, just join your fabric and your lining piece together, okay, so that they'll just be together. Just run a stitch at the base. Okay, so when I did all of this, the next thing is to start joining this upper part of my gown to the lower part. I had to go on to fold this upper part of my gown into two to notch the middle. I've also stitched my fabric to my lining piece. As you can see, my hard net is in between the both. So I'm also going to fold this into two so that I will get the middle and notch as well, which I have done behind the camera already. So those two notch parts, which is the center of this my dress, I'm going to align them right sides facing each other. That is for the upper parts and the lower parts of my gown. When I do this, I'm going to get the ends of the side of this lower part of my gown and pin it together with the upper parts. The reason for this is to actually get the same effect of gathers or pleats at both sides of your gown. You don't want one part of your gown looking more voluminous or more gathered or pleated than the other side, okay? So by the time I do this now, I'm just carefully going to be pleating this excess I have, which is the lower part of my gown on the um waist part of the upper part of my gown, following the shape. So like I've always done on this tutorial, this is a knife pleat, and I'm just going to be pleating it at the base of the upper part of my gown, following the curve and the shape I have right there. So this is something I'm really going to take my time to do, and when I'm done with that, you all are going to see what it looks like. So you can see how far I've gone, and this is what it will look like on the right side. So I'm just going to go to my sewing machine and finish up everything. Make sure you stitch using just half of an inch. So when I was done, you can see this is the outcome. I'm actually yet to fix my zipper to this, but you can see how nice this is looking, right? So the next I'll do is to fix my zipper, right? So I'm fixing an invisible zipper, which is the small head fashion. I don't know, that's what I call it. I don't really know what you might be calling yours, okay? And it's black in color. Then for the sleeve, I've gone ahead to draft out this sleeve. So when you cut out the sleeve, this is a slightly balanced sleeve. Just from your armhole, just cut it down straight. You don't need to shape it because elastic will be fixed at the base. So I've actually created a channel where this my elastic will be passed through. Okay, at the hem of that my sleeve right there. So it's going to pass through from there. Then when I now bring it up from this other side, I will hold it down using my pin and cut off these excesses. So I'll adjust this to ensure that it's not so tight and it's not loose at all. Okay, it's not nice if your elastic is too tight, right? So I'm just going to stretch this, I'll just pull this, I'll just have to ensure it's not so tight, and also be careful and mindful of the type of elastic you have. So when you are done with all of that, go on ahead and fix the sleeve of your dress to your dress on the armhole area, and that will be all for this tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you next time and have a lovely time ahead of you. Bye.